friends, and welcome back. Today we are going to take a look at the first book I've finished in July, and that is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. And if you are on any type of social media, I can guarantee that you have seen this book if you are looking for something new to read. And I actually kept putting this book off. I just really figured that it was going to be super cliche, and I wasn't up for reading a romance for the past couple of months when I looked at it. I didn't have high hopes for this book, and to be honest, I just really thought that I wasn't going to like it. So I just kept pushing it off, and finally, this time around while I was looking for something new, I thought, I keep seeing this everywhere. Let me just give it a try, know that I hate it, and get it off of my list. So let's get into this one and see how I liked it. Like I said, after months of seeing this all over TikTok and Instagram, I finally picked this up from my local library and I gave it a read. This book made me want to go traveling through the mountains. Also made me wish I have a sister, to be honest. It gave me a lot of Rory and Lorelai Gilmore vibes. Now, I know in this story they are sisters, but Rory and Lorelai have this kind of dynamic where they are opposites in a lot of ways, but they are absolutely best friends, and they are so funny. So if you like that kind of storyline, this would be a really, really good pick for you. And it was actually just such a fun read. The author was way more hilarious than I expected her to be, and there are so many funny things sprinkled throughout this book. I'll talk about that a little bit more towards the end of our review today. So another really honest moment, I never even read the synopsis before I got into this book. I felt like I knew what was going to happen just from seeing or reading what I did on TikTok, Instagram, watching what I did on BookTube, so I didn't even read it, and maybe that's why I enjoyed it as much as I did. But let's go ahead and take a look at the synopsis before we really start talking about this. Nora Stevens' life is books. She reads them all, and she is not that type of heroine. Not the plucky one, not the laid-back dream girl, and especially not the sweetheart. In fact, the only people Nora is a heroine for are her clients, for whom she lands enormous deals as a cutthroat literary agent, and her beloved little sister Libby. Which is why she agrees to go to Sunshine Falls, North Carolina for the month of August when Libby begs for her sister's trip away. With visions of a small town transformation for Nora, who she's convinced needs to become the heroine in her own story. But instead of picnics in meadows or run-ins with a handsome country doctor or bulging four-armed bartender, Nora keeps bumping into Charlie Lastra, a bookish, brooding editor from back in the city. It would be a meet cute if not for the fact that they've met many times and it's never been cute. If Nora knows she's not an ideal heroine, Charlie knows that he's nobody's hero. But as they are thrown together again and again in a series of coincidences no editor worth their salt would allow, what they discover might just unravel the carefully crafted stories they've written about themselves. So that's exactly what you're getting in this book. You're following Nora and Libby on their sister's trip away. Libby is 5 months pregnant and finds herself needing a break before the new baby comes. And Nora is just very, very type A. She's a hard worker, but she is a workaholic. And she doesn't ever take a break. She kind of lives to be there for Libby and try and find a way to provide for Libby and her clients. And Libby just really wants to see Nora take some time off and to enjoy some time together. And we're following their travels, and Libby creates sort of a bucket list for Nora and Libby to do while they're on this trip, because she knows that type A Nora loves a list. She's not going to leave a box unchecked, and Libby knows that this is the way to get her to enjoy some time if she forces her to do it in this way. So they do exactly that. Some of the really ridiculous things on their list are get a makeover and Another is to save a local business. And number 5 is to go on dates with locals. And of course, that is for Nora. Libby is trying to play matchmaker for her. Just seems like nothing with relationships ever works out for Nora. And she actually explains in the book that she's the person who helps someone else figure out what they don't want in their relationship. And I think that that's so sad. But we all know that in a romance novel, something's going to change, right? No spoilers here. You're going to have to read it to find out what happens. But even though it's a romance and you already know that something great is going to happen, it was a really, really fun read from start to finish. In this story, we're going to follow Nora on this transformative experience. She kind of learns a lot about herself, a lot about Libby, and just really changes through this book. I kind of mentioned this a minute ago, but I was not expecting for this book to be as hilarious as it was. Now, this is my first book by Emily Henry. I know that she has a couple of others out. I've not read them yet. I definitely will after this one, but it was hilariously written. I really hope that her other books are this funny because it was unexpected and I loved it. So just for an example, there's a restaurant in this book that they go to, and it's called Papa Squats. Pop a Squat. Are you serious? I could not stop laughing. It's just ridiculous things like that that were sprinkled throughout that just caught you by surprise, and I absolutely loved that. I mean, like, laugh out loud while reading moments. Through the book, we learn about Libby and Nora's history and how they were raised, and we learn about their mom. And something that we pick up is that even though Libby and Nora are different, there's something that they both still have from their mom, and that is the Stevens Women trifecta of care, which is skincare, nice underwear, and good books. Amen to that. That is what gives a woman some confidence. I love that the author put this in there. You just feel like you can really get to know them, and like they're such relatable characters. That's how I felt in my opinion anyway. And I just really, really enjoyed all of these little sprinkles that Emily Henry puts in that are funny but relatable and makes you feel like you're getting to know them that much better. So for our overall review, and for the first time on this channel, I'm actually going to give this one 5 stars. Maybe it's because I had really low expectations going into it, but I thought it was fantastic, loved how funny it was, I adored the characters, it was a really good length. I actually surprised myself with this one and finished it in just 2 days over the weekend. So I picked it up from my library on a Friday, was done by Sunday morning. That's pretty good for me. And totally unexpected. Like I said, I really, truly believed I was gonna get 20 pages in and it was gonna go to my never finished pile, but not the case. And now I really would like to read some other stories from Emily Henry. So that's why I'm giving this one a 5. Loved the characters. And even though romance may not be someone's style, this one was super cute. And I think that this is a Hallmark movie waiting to happen. I mean, it would not surprise me one bit if information comes out that this is going to be a movie on Hallmark, because that's how this storyline went. And I think that anyone who is a hopeless romantic and loves romance stories or Hallmark movies, this is the book for you. I don't even really read romances or watch Hallmark movies. I usually think they're too cheesy, but this one was a super, super fun read, has me wanting to travel, and I just couldn't get enough of the banter between characters in this story. I also wanted to mention that in the synopsis, we read that they go to travel to Sunshine Falls, North Carolina, and if you are anything like me, the first thing you said was, is that a real place? I want to go. So I did the research for us, looked it up. No, it's not a real place, but the story does take place near Asheville, North Carolina. So if you're wanting to travel to somewhere similar to the book, you could pick Asheville. With this being my first 5-star review on the channel, I think that that goes to show that BookTok books sometimes are not overhyped. I was convinced before I even read this book that it was going to be one of those overhyped books that people were just sharing about and no one, that it just wasn't really what you thought it was going to be. But it wasn't, in a really good way, and I'll take that. Again, it could be because I had such low expectations of it. Either way, I really enjoyed it. I think that you would too. Definitely give this one a try. And don't forget to check out my Goodreads to see what I'm reading next and to see what I'll be reading through July. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.